So obviously a very exciting time for the Academy. Yeah, just tell me a bit more about it. It must be a really exciting time for the Academy.
Yeah, no, it's always pleasing when you can bring players through, and then you know, we've had them in, some of these lads for sort of the last 2 years have been under contract, some will be under 3-year contracts, and it's just nice to keep them involved. We don't want to give players contracts and then sort of release them after 2 years. We want to, the reason we give them contracts because we think that players have potential to go and play in the Premiership, and that's the pleasing thing. It's just the hard work that's gone in through the academy, through before they came into the academy, sort of into the senior academy, when they're at the schools, and all the hard work put in by the coaches and also by themselves. Players, that's their ultimate goals, is to get contracts. Ultimate goal is to go on and play in the Premiership, then to play international rugby, and the Premiership is a stepping stone to that if they're ambitious.
Yeah, definitely. And tell me a bit more about the sort of traits that these players who have re-signed have. What is it that makes them stand out and, in the end, makes them earn these contracts?
I think it's their hard work and the work ethic, which at Gloucester, that's what we really pride ourselves on. It's something that's been instilled from when they come through from school. These lads have, they're very much, they're individuals, but they like being part of a team. And if they can get their individual work right, put the work in, their skills, some of them are, well, most of them are a long way off where they're going to get to. And that's player development. And yes, there's people that sort of say, oh, well, he's not that great at the moment. But you've got to understand player development. Player development is, these lads will not reach their potential till they're 27, 28. And in certain positions, it just takes a bit longer. But these guys are showing that determination. They put the work in. They've also, they've had the chances in certain games, and they've shown it well, which has impressed the senior coaches. And most of the season, a lot of these lads have been trained with the seniors, and that's been a real bonus, having George come in, getting our academy players training more alongside senior players, and they're improving because of that.
Yeah, and you mentioned there that most of these players aren't the finished product yet, which must be really exciting for the club to think that there is this pathway of talent coming through that are progressing rapidly.
Yeah, and you got to have a bit of luck as well. So you need luck through injuries. Rugby's a contact sport; injuries happen. But these are miles away, and it frustrates me when people go on about, oh well, why isn't he playing Premiership now? Well, he's only 19, 20. They shouldn't be playing really Premiership, and I don't care if it's a forward or a back. We've got to get in the real world. The game is it's contact, it's physical. So having a back who's 19 playing the Premiership regularly, they're getting big knocks, they're getting tackled, they're also getting to tackle big lumps, and so it just takes time. And player development, again, I'm fortunate I do get player development. Your brain keeps on improving, your brain keeps on taking new ideas on board, and that's all we're doing within the academy, is giving these lads different options and seeing them improve. And some of them may get to a ceiling which is not that high. Some will keep on improving till they're well into the sort of late 20s, and that's what we want. We want guys to keep improving, and that's player development.
Yeah, and I guess I think you've said it before in the past that a lot of these guys might not necessarily reach the Premiership in international rugby, but that doesn't matter. The idea of the pathway is to develop players and people as well.
Yeah, a lot of these lads are. They've all been doing some sort of studying off on the sort of side from the rugby, because they have loads of time. Professional rugby players, right? You only train so many hours a day, and you do your homework, you do your analyst stuff, you review your sessions, and these boys have been really good at that. But they're not working 9 to 5, and they've got plenty of time. So we're getting them looking at doing other online courses. We've got some lads who are also at uni and doing courses at uni, and this, with the COVID, they've realised they can manage to do that because most of the lectures are online, and that's the way forward. That's the future within the academy is we brought 2 lads in straight from school, but they're going to be doing some coursework online, and we've also got some other players who are going to go off to university on scholarships, and they're going to be again, because it's a late development sport, rugby. So why don't they do their education alongside it? Because there's no guarantees, and some come in late, some don't survive, and that's the crux of the game.
Do you think that's changed a lot in recent years, the sort of this now sort of focus on them getting qualifications and more education, whereas maybe in the past it was just focused on rugby?
I think it is changing. I think people are realising, and again, it's the understanding of when players come through, the age to come through, and also, we're not football. You're going to have to get a job after rugby. You're not going to earn King's ransom, or the odd, maybe the odd one will, and maybe able to retire and have a great life of doing not a lot else. But these boys, and it's good for the brains. And you can't just, the players in the past who have probably succeeded through in the game are players who've had something else in their lives apart from rugby. The players who have struggled are the ones who just think rugby's for them. That's all it is. We want exciting players. So if they're doing something different away from the game, then it keeps them being creative. It keeps them trying new things. Keeps them thinking, right, I've got something to switch off from rugby. The ones that really struggle are these ones that just do the game. And yes, you've got to commit to it. But that's what we're trying to do within the academy. Is we're committing to training hard, working hard, doing your skills. We're also saying, we're not going to be the excuse for you not to do well in your exams when you're at school. There's no reason why you shouldn't. And, we've got education officer, Tom Jameson, who helps massively. We also work with Craig Townsend, the RPA. He's great at helping find courses for guys. And, the way forward at Gloucester, we want guys to come through from the Gloucester area to play for Gloucester. Because I don't care what he says. You get an extra bit from players who are local. And, we want them. And we know it'll take time. So why not let them have their education alongside it?
Yeah, definitely. And it's a very exciting time for the club, isn't it? We got the new training facility. Some of those pictures look amazing. I imagine, things like that must really inspire the boys in the academy. And, it's an exciting time for the club with, young coaching staff at the top, and that must trickle all the way down through to the academy boys. There must be a real motivation in the sort of wider squad. Yeah,
I think the youngsters are seeing sort of a different end product now. They're sort of thinking, right, we're going to get chances. If we're playing well and we're working hard, and we're going to get opportunities. And having this new training centre, it's going to be ideal. And the new pitch, it's going to inspire players to, it doesn't take an awful lot. People want to play for Gloucester. These lads who come through the academy want to play for Gloucester. And when we get the fans back, that's one of the reasons. And I talk about the shed the whole time in training. I said, you've got to think about, we talk around the shed defence, trying to stop people getting into the shed. We want to stop the opposition getting into our try line. So that's one of the things we talk around. And talk about the King's Home compared now. We want people to be competitive. And they're little areas which really are sort of things we spread down into the under sort of 16, 17. And we talk about it all the time. And King's Home, it's one of the reasons I wanted to be involved with Gloucester. It's a proper rugby club. And there's a proper support. And, and that's what excites me. And it excites me about the future. And yeah, the club are investing in the academy, and it's going to take time. And we know that. Probably over the last few years, we've had quite a few guys have come through. We've got 6 guys involved with England 20s at the moment. Some years you get a lot of players, but some years you don't get so many. You can't just produce players like that. We're trying to, but if they're not there, they're not there. So, so next year, I'm thinking the lads who might contract them, there may be 2 or 3, there may be none. And that's what we have to be realistic. They're not machines. If you want us to produce machines, then I'm in the wrong sport, because we're not machines. We've got to produce creative, athletic, determined players, and that's what we want in Gloucester. We want them to to come on that pitch and have the shared shout and support. And there's nothing better than that, and that's what we're about.